And we are talking about the Calgary real estate market this morning. We're going to go over some numbers, some stats, what's happening in the market, what you can expect to see right after this. Good morning, good morning. My name is Jared Chamberlain, and I am joined by the wonderful
Rebecca Chamberlain.
And we're talking today about the market.
Yeah, it has been another busy August. Not a lot of holiday for people, but a lot of moving.
A lot of moving. Yeah, we're going to jump into some of the numbers. We're going to talk about some of the stats, and we're going to show you a few things on our site here, some of the stats that we've pulled that are kind of helping explain the market a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think in the media right now, a lot of you are seeing and reading one thing, but feeling something else when you're actually in the market.
Correct,
I don't know if you want to speak to that with some of your clients. And
I think mostly what we're seeing is people are confused, are thinking the market's slowing down. In reality, we aren't seeing enough product for people to want to get excited and make a move.
Yeah.
So there is product, but people are pricing a little bit higher, or oftentimes what's on the market isn't positioned as well as it could be.
Right. No, that's exactly it. And so if you're watching this video and you're watching live, we would love to interact with you. We would love to get your comments. So comment and we're going to see them. Put your questions in and we're going to have that conversation, or even just type live. Say, hey, I'm watching. I see you. Put in live.
I'm drinking my coffee.
Drinking my coffee.
What are you drinking?
That's right.
Driving my kids to school.
Well, hopefully you're not watching while you're driving your kids to school.
Okay, sorry. Good call.
But we also have one question this morning. And what is that question we want to go over? Do you remember?
Are you working from home?
Are you in the office?
Or are you in the office? Are you back on your commute?
That's right.
What's
happening?
What's happening?
I mean, for us, obviously we're married and we do real estate, and real estate's been crazy busy the last year and a half.
And running your own business and trying to pivot and be creative and not just kind of get ahead of things.
But what I mean is we've been out. We've been with clients and running and doing things still. And we never turned into the pajama family and working from home and doing all that stuff. And so we don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Good or bad? I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way. So we want to know, are you working back at the office? Are you working from home? What's happening? Because we want to get a pulse of that too. So comment below. We'll see those if it's live as we're talking through all of this statistics of Calgary. All right. Well, let's jump in right away. I'll leave the question up there for a little bit longer. But I want to jump in and let's talk about and look at our site here. And so the interesting thing that I want to show everybody is when you go to this website, the link is in the comments as well as the description of the video that you're watching. And so you can go to our website, chamberlaingroup.ca/Calgary Real Estate Market, with hyphens in between and all that. I'll put it in the comments as well after. But what we're seeing is this number here is always so crazy, and you can't see my mouse, but it's 126.3%. It's the big number right there. And 126% of all homes listed have sold over the last 3 months. That is still crazy. And I remember the first time that we started seeing that was kind of November, somewhere in there. Yeah. And I remember November last year, it said something like 102. And I was like, how do you sell more houses than come on the market?
Right. And
it's been like that every month.
Yeah.
I feel like it hasn't changed. It's been up above 100% since, let's call it November, December. And that is what people are feeling.
Right.
That's not what the market is doing.
Right.
And so, as well as right here, the city of Calgary is currently sitting at 2.37 months of inventory with a total of 5,600 homes on the market and 7,100 homes sold over the last 90 days. Now, that was a snapshot taken on September 2nd. It's not exactly what is today, but that is the numbers of a snapshot at that time when we pulled the stats. And And when you're looking at the months of inventory, on the bottom of this chart here, you can see 0 to 2.5, 2.5 to 4, 4 to 7, and 7 plus. And anything in green, let me do this for you. Anything in green is in a seller's market. These are the communities in the city of Calgary that are in a seller's market. Here is more of a balanced market. This is more of your buyer's market. And this is a strong buyer's market. And so when you start looking at these two areas, it's not a lot of the city. It's a lot of inner city. It's a lot of high-end stuff. It's a lot of condos. It's not a lot. And if you start only, whoops, let me click out of this. There we go. If you only look at what's the seller's market, that's a ton of single-family homes.
Right.
That is a lot of property that is just looking green.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's, but I mean, you always have to look at this is just generalizations as far as that. So it's always good to dive deeper into kind of what these stats are saying and just how that, what do these mean to you? So that's always good to reach out to your favorite realtor, and we'd love a call just as far as what those mean and how that could impact your move, because there's, we're still seeing prices are still creeping up they're still not at what they were at 2018 in some cases. And in other cases, we're seeing, prices being, hit that we've never seen before. So the market is just, you need a tour guide when you're walking through this market.
You do. It's very true. It's very true. And so when we go down here and we start looking at some of these detached homes, so it's interesting because you can look at the number of active listings, the number of sold listings, again, in that snapshot. And what we see when we're looking at this is kind of the opposite of what it should be. So the number of sold listings is so much higher than what's currently on the market. Sold, active. Kind of a fun game. Sold, active. Remember that Sesame Street with Grover, and he'd go near, far. That's what this is, like active, sold. And so what I find really fascinating about this is, like, let's look at the south. This is the south area of the city, the quadrant, the zone there. And the number of sold is sitting, I think it says 924, and the active listings is only at 360, I think it says. That is crazy. And so their inventory is at 1.1 months of inventory. Southeast is sitting at 0.83. The southeast part of the city. So Mahogany, Auburn Bay, Mackenzie Town, anything, Douglas Glen, Douglasdale, all that stuff that's down, all the properties and communities that are down here, there we go, in the pink right there. Those are all under 1 month of inventory. And this is just detached homes. Because let's use that as an example, Southeast. So 0.8 months of inventory for detached homes. You go to attached homes, they got 1.4. So in that pocket, there's a lot of duplexes, attached properties. Right. You don't see infills there. It's not high end. It's kind of that middle class middle ground between condos, townhouses, this property, and then
you may see
right?
some villas, like bungalows.
Yeah, that's true. That
may fall in that category. Again, talking generalizations, but you're just seeing, it's really just to show the inventory. And I find people always, when I'm talking to buyers and sellers, it's way easier as a buyer to move towards pleasure. Listing your house and packing up your stuff is not always as easy of an event. So when inventory is low, it gets people less excited about looking and potentially making a move.
Yeah. And then condos for down there is 2.6 months of inventory, where it was 1.4 and then 0.8. So it's just a good example of the types of product that are out there and how things are changing in terms of the single family to an attached type property, townhouses, row houses, duplexes, whatever they are, as well as then condos.
Right.
And how there's more inventory for condos, a little bit less for the next category, and even less for detached houses.
Right.
And so that's what's happening in the market right now.
Right. Yeah, and you're seeing a combination. Meeting still a lot of buyers from Toronto that are, excited about coming to Alberta and actually owning a home, or a bigger home.
And sometimes for their first time.
Yeah. So that's been exciting, and we haven't seen that migration from the east back to Alberta, and it feels like a while, just as things have changed. So I think we're all kind of waiting in September to be like, what's next?
What's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And so, predictions, or, we all don't know. Life is not the same since the pandemic. And so I think we're looking to kind of look at markers from what previously had been. And so that's just something, it's like a reset. And so we're all trying to navigate that.
Well, and so is the market.
Yeah.
The market is resetting. The market is trying to figure out what is this new flow, because the market is us as people, as buyers and sellers and people moving and making transactions. And so that market itself is trying to figure itself out, because,
it's made up of life decisions and people, and so that's really what these numbers are people's
results
decisions
of those decisions. Yeah, that's true. And so the last thing that I want to quickly run through is just these are our stats that we put on our Instagram, on a lot of our social channels, and all of that good stuff. And we're going to run through that. But I want to also remind you, if you're watching, because I know there's a bunch of people watching live, our question of the day is, are you back in the office or are you working from home still? What's happening? Because for us, it nothing really changed, except we were really busy helping people buy and sell houses.
Right.
And it was a really full market. And so we want to know, that is our question. So comment below, we'll see it, and we'll respond to it there. But jumping back into, got a bunch of things here. Here we go. So these are some of the stats, just to quickly roll through this. All of Calgary, the benchmark price, $459, is up 9.4% year over year, with 2,100 sales, which is a 36% increase compared to last August. I think the biggest number that we actually don't even have in here, that we explained in the description when we posted these stats, is that 19,500, and I think it was 16 sales happened by the end of August year to date. If you go back 6 years, the typical year for the last 6 years was around 16,000 sales. So we are already like let's call it 3,000 to 4,000 sales more than those older years, year to date now. And we still have 4 months of the year for possessions to happen and people moving in. And so that's crazy. Like that's a really big number. And I think what that comes down to when we're explaining it and talking to people about that is that the market itself and all of the things that happen when you move, the lawyers, the land titles office, all of these things are just so overwhelmed. And so it's taking now 2 months. So if you moved in today, what's the date today? September 8th. If you moved in today, September 8th, it would you might get the title of your house probably mid-November.
Yeah. Like
the title would be in your name by around mid-November right now. And that's how long stuff is taking, because no one expected this type of market and an increase of activity, as well as hiring people has been really hard. For a lot of these companies too. And
even just within buildings taking longer because there is, a shipping container. We are just seeing such a backlog of just the cycle because of the pandemic. So that's impacting building, which then impacts possession. There's been concrete shortages, wood shortages. So all of that kind of plays into what we're seeing.
Yeah. And so that is the numbers there for all of the whole city. New listings are up by 9% compared to last year, but inventory is still down by 6,000. And so we're still seeing a decrease in inventory, low inventory. Detached houses, obviously, prices are on the rise across the city because there's such a demand and a shortage of supply. And that's what the market is, supply demand. Detached houses. So this is going to be like your duplexes, infills, those kind of things. This number 430 really says to me that a lot of duplexes are selling and not necessarily a lot of higher end infills are selling, right? I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah, I think infills, there's always a big gap between the resale infill market and the new infill market. So there's and because styles and preferences change. So
and they change quickly in that market too.
I think anything like if even 5 years ago, the trends were very dark. Dark hardwood, dark cabinetry. We've shifted to a totally different color palette, and so just trends change quicker. And so then when someone's house shopping, it's a 5-year-old home, and everyone wants to start doing a reno, which doesn't make sense on a financial level, because you're paying a higher price because everything's newer. So it's just an interesting trend to watch. Yeah,
for sure. And then the last two is the row townhouses. So townhouses have a benchmark of 300,000 sale price right now, which is 8% higher than last year. Sales is 342, which is a lot more properties have sold townhouses this year than last year. It's a 56% increase compared to last August.
Yeah.
And last August was full.
Yeah, it still was busy. People were starting to come out. It felt a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
I think that even, I'm finding that townhouses under 300, there's a lot of price pressure because they're creeping up.
Yeah.
I think that, that really is your first time home buyer who may be looking, and you see it in the numbers, who would rather live in a townhouse maybe than an apartment condo.
Yeah.
Just because we have seen some of those gyms and restaurants that you would naturally be around a lot of condos, not be in business. So I think people are wanting
gyms closed inside of their complex or something like that.
So they're wanting to be in control of their own space.
Or have a little bit more space.
Yeah.
That price per square foot kind of thing is really important. And maybe living inner city is not as important. I mean, there's a little, but for some, moving inner city is important now.
Yeah.
So it's all back and forth. It's not one way or the other, right?
You're dealing with people, and people are always going to have different preferences. And so that's the journey.
That's the journey. There you have it. That's the journey. And apartment condos. So this is the last thing. So 253 is the benchmark price. It's only gone up about 2%, but still it's gone up compared to last year. And 332 sales, which is an increase of 48%, which is less than the townhouses, because that was 56% increase from last year. But there's a lot of condos on the market.
Yeah. I think I always, I've said this in videos before. Calgary's the size of New York. We don't have the density. We're seeing new condo developments happen all the time. Condos are built differently too. If you ever have had a chance to look at condos from the 80s compared to, new condos in the 80s or older era were a lot bigger. They had a lot more space.
Yes.
Newer condos are beautiful, but 800 square feet. They're tight. They don't allow us to, have a craft room or a sewing room or a, yoga room as easily.
Are you wanting a craft room? Is this like a hint?
I don't know.
A sewing room?
I don't know. I think I could.
Maybe we need thumbs up or down that Rebecca should get a sewing room.
Then I need a sewing instructor. Who's going to be my sewing instructor?
Is anyone a sewing instructor? Are you a sewing instructor? Well, we want to wrap this up. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope there's been some good content here. And if there has been some good content, we would encourage you to head on over to our different YouTube channels, like it, subscribe it, hit the notifications so you get videos when we're posting them live, or we're posting them every Tuesday and Thursday as we continue to create a lot of good content here in Calgary, understanding the market and helping families move up. And so again, our question of the day: are you working from home? Or are you back in the office? We want to know. So comment below. Let's hear from you. And if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to us, 587-316-5400 or info@chamberlaingroup.ca. And I think that's all we got today.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll see you guys.
See you.